What's up, beautiful people, and welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Crystal and this is Bond Book Reviews. And there's a couple of things I need to address before we jump into this video. The first is my skin. I am covered in red blotchy rash, and it's because I work in health and I have to wear N95s as well as like face shields all day, and my skin doesn't like it and I don't want to put makeup on over the top of it. And I could have waited to film until things settled down because I only just got home from work, but I wanted to get this video out to you, so we're just gonna pretend this doesn't exist. Number two that we need to address is, why did I leave a baby emoji at the bottom of my last video? If you are unaware what I'm talking about, if you haven't seen my pick pong yet, I will have it linked so you can go and check it out. At the end, I said if you've made it this far, drop a baby emoji in the comments. And the answer to that is that the Jeffrey household is going to have a little baby bookworm coming to us in June. So that is why I have dropped that. There's a lot of people that figured it out, but if you hadn't already, surprise! So yeah, they're the two little elephants in the room that we needed to come across. But as you can see by the title of this video, we're going to be jumping into 22 books that I want to read in the year of 2022. Now, I decided for this list to prioritize standalones that were already on my shelf prior to 2022. So none of these books will be ones that I was gifted for Christmas. None of them are series continuations, etc. They're all part of different goals, which I will mention in my reading goals, which will be coming out in the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that. But today we're just going to be jumping into 22 books that I would like to prioritize for the year of 2022. So the first one on this list is Gracefully, Grayson. This is a novel by Amy Polinsky. This has been on my shelf for a while. I acquired this one when I was trying to read more LGBTQIA+ books. I really love the premise of this. It sounds absolutely right up my alley. I know I'm going to love it. It's also quite a skinny read, so I should get through it pretty quickly, which I'm excited about. The premise on the back says, what if who you are on the outside doesn't match who you are in the inside? And I believe it is a story about identity, self-esteem, and friendship. And it talks a lot about love and endurance for potentially, from what is implied, someone who is going through a transition or kind of trying to find their own sexual identity. So I do like the sound of this one. I haven't seen it a lot of places, so that also intrigues me, is to be reading something that isn't like overly hyped. So that is my first book of 2022 that I am aiming to prioritize. Number two on this list is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This one I am prioritizing because I've seen too many people talk about it and I have serious FOMO. So I've had this one on my shelf for a while. I picked it up ages ago just because I liked the cover, not realizing that it was the same book that everyone was talking about. Finally figured out it was the same one when I put it into Goodreads and saw that the cover was the same as the one everyone else was talking about. Anyways, I'm super excited to read this one. I know nothing about this. I'm going into it completely blind and trusting the numerous people that have screamed from the rooftops about this that I will love it. And I also am trying to read more books that are on my shelf that have been turned into movies, because every time Anthony's like, let's watch this movie, I'm like, sorry, have to read the book first. So that's another reason why I am prioritizing this one, so that we can actually watch the film that has been adapted from this book. And because I like to have my heart completely broken every year, I always pick a couple of novels that are gonna like destroy me, that I've been avoiding, and put them on my priority list so I make more of an intention to try and finish them. And that is They Both Die in the End by Adam Silvera. Pretty much I could put any Adam Silvera book on this list and I know it would break me, and that it's going to give me exactly what I need for that tearjerker moment. But They Both Die at the End is the one I have on my shelf and is the one that I've heard the most people scream about. Greg from Greg's Library, I will have a link down below if you want to go check him out. I remember watching his Instagram stories as he was reading this, going through a Adam Silvera binge, and it just made me really, really excited to pick this one up. All I know about this one is it is a male-male friendship romance where it's pretty obvious they're both going to die in the end, but apparently even though you know what's going to happen in the end, the journey there is half the fun. Another one that I have put on here, it seems to be, when I was going through this, I put a lot of contemporary romances that had been on my shelf for a really long time, but is Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky Albertalli and Aisha Said. This is one that's just been staring at me for too long, and I need to get it read, get it off my shelf, love it or hate it. It is very split in terms of whether you love it or hate this one. So I am intrigued to see which side I end up on, but I am hesitant because I wasn't a huge fan of Simon vs. the Homo sapien Agenda. I read it with my book club and I didn't mind it. I have Leah on the Offbeat on my December TBR, so depending on how that goes, this one may get pushed down and I may replace it with something else I'm a little bit more excited for. But because it is a co-author experience and it is one of the best ones that I have heard mentioned from this author, I'm probably a little bit more excited for this one than Leah on the Offbeat. So if Leah on the Offbeat doesn't really hit the mark, then I may still give Yes, No, Maybe So a chance. My only idea and understanding of this is it follows two characters, male and female, that end up in a weird situation where they have to go door to door asking for votes for an election of some kind. I don't know whether a friendship or a romance forms. I have absolutely no idea, but we're gonna see what happens. One that actually came up on my Bookstagram suggested list. So I have an entire shelf on my Instagram. It's like saved things that I have, which are books that I should read. If ever I see someone do a review that is of a book that really grabs my attention or that I'm intrigued and want to read, then I save it on this section on my Instagram. And one that I ended up putting on my wish list that I got a copy of was Sorry Not Sorry by Sophie Renaud. Again, another romance. I think this is like a hate to love romance. Apparently it's a laugh out loud romantic comedy, so we're going to give it a shot. It seems to be that 2022 is going to be the year of romantic comedies. But yes, I managed to get this one off my wish list from Anthony for my birthday, like not last year, but the year before, I want to say. It's been a while. Maybe it was Christmas last year. Either way, I need to get to it. So I was super excited when I first got a copy. Haven't obviously prioritized it. Now's the time to do it. I love the idea about this one where it follows a character who feels like she's stuck in a rut, feels like she is only doing boring, safe things. And so she decides to make some crazy decisions and does things like buy sexy lingerie or go on a Tinder date and do certain things. And it just leads to a whole new finding of herself and a romantic comedy along the way. So it just sounds like a really quick read that I will probably hopefully enjoy. Obviously, with me having a baby in the year of 2022, I'm looking for some nice, easy, simple reads. So this is going on the list. This next one, I just said I want easy, simple reads, is definitely not going to be that, but I am super excited to continue this series. It is the only series continuation I think I have on here, and that is Us Against You by Frederick Borkman. I absolutely loved Beartown last year. It was phenomenal. One of my favorite reads of 2021. I will be releasing a top reads of 2021 at some point, so you can keep an eye out for that. I'm just really behind the times and like to do things late. So yes, keep an eye out for that. But yes, Us Against You by Frederick Borkman is definitely on this 2022 priority list because I need to find out what else happens. I need to go back into this world. I need to read more Frederick Borkman. This is the last one I have left of his, and I guarantee he'll probably be releasing something amazing in 2022. And so I want to like catch up. If you haven't read Beartown, this is the sequel to that. Beartown follows the story of I guess you could say, a sexual assault where it's very much a divided town. Half the town say that the man who did it is innocent. The other half say that justice is required, and just because he's a famous hockey player that is meant to be the star of the town doesn't mean that he deserves to get off the charges that he did. Very, very hard-hitting, very, very well-written. Frederick Borkman is amazing. So I'm very excited to see how this continues. And how many times I just said very, I have absolutely no idea, but I'm sorry. Next one on here, we're going to get some spooky vibes in there because, you know, I'll probably get to it around October, and that is House of Hollows by Crystal Sutherland. Yes, I'm very, very excited to read this. It apparently has all the spooky vibes, but also like mystery. I have discovered in the year of 2021 that dark academia is just like not for me, but I've been informed that this will be okay. So I'm giving it a shot. I'm prioritizing it because that cover is stunning. I've heard nothing but fantastic things, and I just hope hope to God that I'm not let down. This wouldn't be a 2022 priority list without me trying to get some more LGBTQ reads on here. So of course, Anything But Fine by Tobias Madden is having to be on here. I planned on reading this one near the end of 2021. Didn't happen, so I'm making it a priority early 2022. This follows the story of a dancer who injures himself. He's a ballet dancer, injures himself, is no longer able to dance, and he has to re-identify himself as someone other than a ballet dancer. In doing this, he also meets a love interest. I think it's a male love interest. Tobias Madden himself is part of the LGBTQIA+ community. He is coming to Newcastle soon. I unfortunately won't be able to go to the meet and greet. I did do a virtual meet and greet with him a while ago, but yeah, I just really want to support him, finally get a review out there for this book. But yeah, I tried to prioritize it end of last year. It didn't happen, so got to put it on my 2022 priority list. Every year I try and prioritize reading at least one Kristen Hannah book after me absolutely loving everything I've read from her. I read The Nightingale, I've read The Great Alone, and I've recently read The Four Winds by her and really loved. I'm going to be trying to read True Colors. This was also one of the 12 books suggested by 12 friends that was going around on Twitter and Instagram. It was suggested by one of my followers as one of the 12 books. So that's another reason why this is on this priority list, because it is also on that list. But yeah, it's my Kristen Hannah priority for the year, and that is True Colors. I always go into a Kristen Hannah novel completely blind. I don't even read the synopsis. I just jump in knowing I'm going to love it. Kristen Hannah is an auto-buy author for me, and she can never, ever go wrong. I am yet to find a book of hers that I do not like. Even the 4-star reads of hers, I've had a really good time, even though it didn't hit. The Great Alone is still my favorite. Nothing can beat The Great Alone, but maybe True Colors can try and take the cake. Now this is a book that I won from a giveaway, my first ever giveaway when I joined Bookstagram in 2019, and I still haven't read it. So it's going on this priority list for 2022, and that is #Murder Trending by Gretchen McNeil. There's been 4 more books in this series come out, and I still haven't read this one. I was obsessed with wanting to read this. I won the giveaway and was like, yes, this is on my list. I need this. I want to read it immediately. Rocked up on my doorstep. I was so excited. It's now 2022 and I still haven't read it, and I don't know what happened. So that's why it's ending up on this list. Feel like this is going to be one of those thrillers that I either absolutely love or absolutely detest. If you've read it, let me know in the comments down below what you think it will be. Place your votes now, whether you think I'll love it or hate it. It follows the story of a futuristic world where you're able to watch the murdering of some of humanity's worst villains or something along the lines. And then our main character is now up for death row at this Alcatraz 2.0 kind of camp. And she refuses to die for a crime she didn't commit. So she starts to kind of put stuff out on the internet to prove her innocency. That's my general gist. So I'm excited. Love it or hate it, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. One of my favorite books of all time is The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom, sorry. It's been a long day. And I finally obtained a copy of The First Phone Call from Heaven, which is, I think, either the sequel or amongst the same kind of world, definitely by the same author. And I am super excited to read this. It has been so long since I've read The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, but I still remember it vividly. So I'm very, very excited to pick another one up from this author, which I think is in the same kind of realm and feeling and vibe that gives you. So that is number, I don't even know anymore, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, number 11 on our 2022 priority list. Number 12, we're going with the 2021 release because, not all these books are massively backlists. And that's 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. This was kindly gifted to me for Christmas, I believe it was, from a follower. Can't remember who, and it looks as though the tag is missing out of it. No, it was my birthday and it didn't come with a tag. So if you were the one who gifted me this, thank you very much. But yeah, 6 in Cranes was on my most anticipated list when I did my RTHF series that was coming out, and it's still up there. It's still a priority. So it's going straight to the top of the 2022 list. I am super excited for this one. It follows a story of a young woman who has been advised that she is unable to talk, and every time she does talk, one of the Cranes dies. The Cranes, however, are her 6 brothers that have been converted into Cranes. So she has to try and solve the mystery, solve the family drama, and save the world without speaking a single word. This next one was kindly gifted to me from a friend from my book club, and it is one that I knew nothing about until they gifted it to me. And I felt like I needed some more variety in this list, so I decided to put a sci-fi on there, and that is Providence by Max Barry. And I'm just going to read this little part on the back for you because I think it kind of sums it up really nicely. While perusing the enemy across space, Gilla, Talia, Anders, and Jackson confront the unthinkable. Their communications are cut, their ships decreasingly trustworthy and effective. To survive, they must win a fight that is suddenly and terrifyingly real. So I'm kind of getting adult version of Illuminate kind of vibes from this. Probably going to be completely different, but that's why I'm intrigued by it. We have to throw some more fantasy on here because, you know, it's my jam, and that is Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner's The Other Side of the Sky. I have heard mixed reviews, so the more, I think if I leave it too long, I'll just lose the hype for it. So I'm putting it on my priority list so I read it while I'm still excited for it. Otherwise, I'll probably end up giving up on it. But I just decided to put some YA on here because although I had a lot of like contemporary easy reads, I figure YA fantasy is also a pretty easy thing for me to get into, but also hit that fantasy niche that I'm gonna want to hit. So as you can see from this list, a lot of them are like easy reads because y'all know my brain capacity is going to be like diminished for most of the year. But in true Crystal fashion, I need to keep some fantasies on there. So we're going to throw on Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. I absolutely love this cover. It's just stunning. Bought this one purely because of the hype and know nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. So let's find out about it together, shall we? 2 sisters, 1 murder, a quest for vengeance that will unleash hell itself. That's all I need to know. I am sold. So Kingdom of the Wicked, prioritizing just because the hype is there. And I have FOMO. Another one that's been on my shelf since about 2019, maybe 2018, before I even started Bookstagram, that a friend from high school recommended to me and said that I would absolutely love, that I just have not read, is Goodwood by Holly Throsby. This one apparently is like a historical fiction cult book, I think. No, my apologies. It's 1992 and 2 terrible things happen. Rosie White, the coolest girl in town, vanishes overnight, and 1 week later, the most popular resident sets off on a fishing trip and never comes home. So 2 people go missing in a town in 1992. So it's not really, I guess you could say that's historical fiction. But yes, apparently it's a thriller, not a historical fiction cult. Unless it is a cult, and that's why they went missing. But anyways, I've heard really good things. My friend said I love it. She knows my reading taste. I'm going to trust her. I need to finally prioritize this. She's been telling me to read it for years, so I'm finally doing it in 2022. There are 2 authors that were my favorite authors before I started Bookstagram and YouTube, and even reading on a regular basis. They were always ones that I prioritized reading their books as soon as they came out. I've collected every single book they own, and that is Nicholas Sparks and Jodi Picoult. And it's about time that I finally pick up The Return by Nicholas Sparks. It came out in like 2019, I think. 2020, my apologies. 2022 is the time to read it, I think. 2 years late, yeah. Another author that I go completely blind into, along with Kristen Hanna, is Nicholas Sparks. I just feel like a lot of his synopsises sound very similar, but then once you get into the nitty-gritty of the story, there's actually a lot more to it. So I tend to go in completely blind, having no idea what it's about and just experiencing the ride as I go along. So that's exactly what I'm going to do with this one. Because I can't have just one, I have to have 2 Kristen Hannas on this list. We're also going to prioritize Wild, because that is the last one that I own of hers that I need to read. I still need to obtain some of her backlist, but this will get me up to date. So I think that's what I want to do, get up to date, and then I can start working through her backlist once I've read everything I own. So that is why I'm ending up with 2 Kristin Hannahs on this list. Again, going blind because it's Kristin Hannah, so not going to talk about it. Next, we have The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. This is a historical fiction that is from the author of Me Before You. Is that the book she wrote? Anyways, my friend Jess over on Instagram told me that I need to read this. She said I would love it. So I got a copy and I'm prioritizing it this year because she knows me very well. We talk almost daily. We have very similar reading tastes in a lot of things. So if she tells me I need to read a book, I'm going to trust her. So again, don't look into a lot of books. I just trust a lot of people when they tell me that I'm going to enjoy it, because it's almost like I don't like to watch too many movie trailers before I watch the movie. I just kind of like to go in because I feel like the movie trailer like gives away too much. So I don't read a lot of synopsises. So The Giver of Stars, all I've heard about this is that it's a historical fiction and it will take me on a journey. So that's it. I trust a friend. It's historical fiction. I'm sold. So we have 3 more that are on this list, and all of them, I believe, are 2021 releases. Who would have thought it? I had a lot of backlist in this list, but these ones are all fairly new. I lied. One of them is from 2018. Every Breath by Nicholas Sparks. Again, I'm just trying to catch up. This is the last one I have to read that I own of his. So once I read this, as well as The Return and the 2 Kristin Hannahs, I will be up to date with everything I own from some of my favorite authors. So it's just why I'm prioritizing it. And again, I'm going in blind because it's Nicholas Sparks. Number 20 was kindly gifted to me by a publisher. Never read it, never did a review because I'm a terrible person. And that is The German Midwife by Mandy Robotham. I absolutely loved her other book. It was amazing. So I'm really excited to jump back into this one. All I know is that it is a historical fiction that follows the favorite time that I like to read about, which is World War II. We're based in Germany, and it's a prisoner of labor camps, and she is trying to keep pregnant inmates alive. So I need to read it. I'm gonna love it. I know it's gonna break my heart. I love reading about this time frame. I love reading about these like feel good one person that tries to change the injustices that happened. And yeah, I'm just super excited for it. That's why I asked for a copy, but I just didn't get to it when it arrived. It then sat on my shelf. Didn't prioritize it, but I'm fixing that. And my last and final book of 2022 that I'm going to be prioritizing, the 22nd book for 2022, is The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary. Again, loved Beth's other works. This is the last one I need to read for her so that I am all up to date. And so that is why I'm prioritizing this. It was also on my RTHF list for romance when I spoke about it being released. And I was kind enough to get a copy from one of my friends. So, you know, I got to put it on here. I planned on reading it the end of last year. I think I even had it on a TBR. And it just didn't happen. But if you are unfamiliar with The Road Trip, this follows the story of 2 siblings. Yes, and they're about to embark on a road trip, and they get just down the road and they happen to rear end her ex-boyfriend. But they all happen to be heading to the same wedding, and the only way to get there now is to road trip all together in the same car. And of course, this leads to a lot of awkward conversations that may lead to a rekindling of a romance. So we have like a forced proximity romance with a hate to love kind of situation. So I'm all here for it. So there you have it. That's not even all of them. And there's no way I'm going to be able to lift this up. The 22 books that I want to try and prioritize in 2022, in absolutely no particular order, of course. I had 21 books in 2021 I wanted to get to, and I got to 20 of them. And number 21 of that stack is in my Buzzwordathon TBR. So hopefully I'll get to it this year anyways. But yes, these are all the books I'm going to try and prioritize in 2022. I'm going to put this down before I drop it. Hold on a sec. Let me know if we have any in common, any of these priorities for you in 2022. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, drop a cactus emoji down below if there is a cactus emoji. If not, just drop a plant emoji. And thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because I'd love to have you join the family. And until next time, thanks so much for watching and happy reading.